Good morning to all listening in from Europe, and good afternoon to all joining us here in China. Welcome to our European SME Week webinar series. My name is Anne Lormadi, and I am the Communications Manager at the EU SME Centre. So yesterday we kicked off our webinar series, and our experts took you through the prospects of selling online in China. And today you've joined the second part of our series, which will be focusing on common business scams and how to avoid them. In a moment, I will pass the mic over to our legal advisor, Ms. Ludmila Hiklova, who will be your presenter for today. But for now, just a quick reminder, let me inform you that today's webinar will last for 45 minutes. We will have a question and answer session at the end of the webinar, so please do feel free to use your control panels to post questions throughout the webinar, and we will do our best to answer these at the end. So, to the topic at hand, avoiding common scams when doing business in China. Throughout today's presentation, you will hear about problematic business partners, how to prevent being scammed, what fundamental information you should be aware of and what you should be checking regarding your business partner, and finally where to look for further information and advice. Here at the EU SME Centre, we get regular inquiries sent through to our legal team, and of these, around 20% fall in the category of doing due diligence, working with business partners, and some, unfortunately, are dealing with scams. So we've amassed a lot of knowledge in this area, and the practical information and advice that you'll get today highlights this very much. Before we get started, and before I introduce you to today's speaker, I would first of all like to kick off by launching our first poll to see the experience that everybody out there today has had in this respect. So, have any of you ever been scammed by a business partner? This is totally anonymous, so feel free to answer honestly. So, have you been scammed? Have you managed to succeed to cover your loss? Have you incurred a loss? If you haven't been scammed, or maybe some of you taking part today represent a network of SMEs, so maybe you're advising more in this area rather than working directly with business partners. So I'll just give you a few more seconds to vote. Okay, thank you. And I'll share these results with you now. So it's very good to see that actually the majority of you, 48%, have actually never been scammed. So this is good news. Maybe some of you are at the early stages of business in China, so today's presentation will help you for the next steps. I can see that there's still a fairly high percentage that have actually been scammed in the past, and maybe we look towards the end of the presentation at ways of avoiding this in the future, or maybe even seeing if there are areas that you could utilize to overcome any losses there. Okay. So with this information, I will go over to our speaker today. So Ludmila is our in-house legal expert here at the Centre. She spent over 8 years in China heading up legal and compliance for a large EU company, and she has a lot of experience dealing with businesses in their early stage of market entry, and here at the Centre she's advising on a daily basis on lots of subjects of legal nature, and especially working with Chinese business partners. So, Ludmila, I pass the mic to you.
Thank you, Anne-Laure. Good morning to Europe. Good afternoon to who are listening us from China. Thanks a lot for introduction of the topic and introduction of myself, and I will move straight forward to our presentation and to the agenda. So in today's about 35-40 minutes, remaining 40 minutes, we will cover 3 topics. First one will be about problematic partners you can encounter when doing business in China and the most common scams, scenarios of the scams. Second topic will be what preventive measures you can take to avoid those misunderstanding on or unpleasant situations. And the third topic is what to do when you are subject of a scam. So without further delay, let's start with the first topic. As Anne-Laure mentioned, here with the center and in our legal department, we are, I would say almost every week we have 2 or 3 questions which are related to the fraud or scam or potential fraud or checking potential business partners. And through our experience, through answering to those questions, we have identified 4 types, basic types of problematic partners. First group of the companies we call fake companies. In fact, there are not companies. They are basically, there is a person who, for example, sent email to you and pretending that he or she represents any Chinese company, but in fact there is no company established in China. Second group of problematic partners are paper tigers. Those companies really exist. They can promote themselves as a leading company in their industry, but in fact they are imposters. They don't have any substantial business, or they are missing needed registration or the licenses. Third group are parasite companies. Those companies are real companies as well. They are established, but they rely too much on their relationship with the local authorities or the local government. And once this relationship is broken, then the whole business is jeopardized. Last group of problematic partners are shell companies. Those companies are existing as well. They do exist. They have business license. They can have all required registration, but unfortunately they don't have any significant assets of active business or the records. How to identify those dangerous or problematic potential partners, we will come a few slides later. Now I will move to the slides which are describing the most often scenarios which we can see. Those are usually involving companies from the Europe side who are importing Chinese products to the Europe. So how does it look like? Foreign company, the FC, gets unsolicited email from the Chinese company offering to supply goods for a very low price. So the foreign company cannot resist not to order. But they are cautious and they ask for the samples first, and the samples arrive and they are of a very good quality. So there seems to be no obstacle to go on with the business, with such business partners. Foreign company usually pays money in advance. Sometimes it is 50, sometimes 60%. They send money to the account of what they think is a Chinese company, honest Chinese company, and unfortunately goods is not delivered at all, or is very poor quality. We have seen many cases of this scenario. They have reported cases of exporting oil to the Europe, but instead the dirty water arrives, and many similar unfortunate cases. And of course, the Chinese company later on vanishes, and foreign company cannot succeed to reach them via the email or via uh, via the phone. Another type of unfortunate situation is we call fixer. It starts very similarly as the previous one. Foreign company gets unsolicited offer from the Chinese company to supply goods, and again for the very low price. But foreign company is a little bit cautious, and they are pleased because they are invited to come to China to attend the signing ceremony. What happens next is that Chinese company ask for a company to pay for some banquet with the officials, some administrative fees, additional taxes. Very popular is a question of a notary fees. So, in fact, there is no reason why simple sales or any sales purchase contract shall be notarized. But since the foreign company very often they do not possess that type of information, and that they are very eager to go on with the business and to conclude the business, and usually the money for those fees are not that substantial, so they go on and they pay. So foreign company pays to move the process along, but at the end the Chinese company vanishes and business is not concluded, no product, no goods is delivered. Last scenario is bank account. Relationship is formed between two companies, foreign company and the Chinese company, either on the trade show, internet, or by any other means. Then for a company, because they believe that very good relationship were established, decided to buy from the Chinese company, and usually the large order is placed. That the so-called representative tells to the foreign company to send payment to non-Chinese company account, maybe citing tax reasons. Why the representative, I say so-called representative, because it very often happens that someone, either a former employee or someone outside the company, misuses the business license of honest Chinese company and use his or her private individual account to cheat the foreign company, and not only the foreign company. But then again, money are sent, no goods is received, and representative vanishes. And when you try to connect with the Chinese company, they honestly declares there was no official communication between them and you. So all these cases and all these scenarios and many others we have seen. But then it comes a question what you can do to prevent such unhappy and unpleasant situations. So when we are talking about scams and the business partners, it does not need to be only the supplier and buyer relationship. I mean, potential business partners can be your agent, it can be a distributor, it can be manufacturer, it can be landlord or your future office in China, service providers, intermediaries. All of them can be involved, and it makes sense to get information about their background. So the first step is to collect information. There is quite a lot of here in China what you can get. I will focus firstly on the two aspects: legal status and the financial status. For the financial status, the most important is the business license. I will spend some time on it later on. Then as well, ID card, special permits, land use rights, right to use premises, IPR ownership certificate, or company stamp. For the financial status, you can be interested in a creditworthiness letter or financial statement, capital verification report, bank account details. It's very important to check to whom you pay. I mentioned at the beginning that business license is the most important document of the company. Basically, it is something like a birth certificate or certificate of incorporation. Every and each Chinese company or company registered in China has to have the business license. Here on the picture you can see the duplicate of the business license, which is always called as well like a small business license. I believe that probably many of you cannot speak Chinese, so we have this translation. And usually there are about 13 or 14 very important information which are worthy to check on the business license, but I will focus only the four most important ones. The first one is a name. Chinese companies, they have official name is in Chinese. Means in the Chinese characters. So if you receive a contract with the Chinese company where their name is in English, you shall be interested what is their official Chinese name. Then other important information is about legal representative. Legal representative is a person, the only one from the law who is entitled to act on behalf of the company, sign the contract. This guy can pass this power to other employees of the company, but there has to be legal basis for it, like power of attorney. So if you are, for example, interested in a very important deal, or even not an important deal for you, important deal, it's good to know who is the legal representative, what is his or her name, and I mean, it makes even sense to contact this person. Scope of the business, why it is important. Each company needs to have a list of the activities which is this company is entitled, is allowed to provide. So if you are, I will give example of the importer or the exporter. If you are looking for someone who will import your products to China, then this company needs to have written in the scope of business foreign trade activities. If this company does not have this activity in the list, they is something like intermediary, and they will charge you may charge you for other services, but not for importing your products. Past 2012 annual inspection. Each year, all companies in China needs to go through the inspection of all its business licenses, START certificates, and so on. At the end of the whole process, the local administration of industry and commerce will affix a stamp certifying that the inspection was successful. If the stamp is missing, there is something wrong.
Thank you, Ludmila. Once you have a copy of the business license from your potential partner, how do you go about checking whether that is, if in effect, the original one, the valid license? How can you check if it is in fact still valid?
Of course, the best way is to, if you have the opportunity to go to China, then the best way is to visit your partner in his or her office and ask for the original, like to see the original, and then make a copy. But yeah, I have it on the next slide, which might be easier for you to see it in written. Yeah, so this is visit your partner and ask for the original. Then if you don't have that option, you probably need to have someone who is familiar how the business license can or shall look like. What information shall be included, if there is a fixed common seal of the company, if there is a fixed common seal of the company, whether this common seal is genuine or not, whether the register is existing KIC or not. Then, if you don't have the opportunity to go and visit and see the original, you can ask your partner to send you a scanned copy with a fixed company stamp. I will talk about company stamp a little bit later, what it is good. And then once you have this scan copy, you can go to the websites of the local administration of industry and commerce, where you can check whether the information on the business license correspond to the information in the database.
And those websites, are they available in English language or are they all in Chinese?
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Those websites are currently only in Chinese. There is one more obstacle to it, that the whole system is not centralized. So you need to know where the company is registered, and based on that you need to go to the local, provincial or municipality website and check. And of course the last option is, which is as well recommended one, if you have someone who you can trust and this person is a lawyer registered in China, they can go and visit the local AIC branch to check all those informations. Here is the example of one of the websites of the Hebei Administration of Industry and Commerce, and then you can see it's quite simple. However, it's in Chinese. So based on the registration or business license number or the name, you can find out the company. Our USME Center very often helps to the companies to check their business partners, and we can help you to do this AIC check. However, we need to know the business license. We have to see the business license or the scan of the business license. Another option which is available as well in the Chinese language is to use the National Administration for Code Allocation for Organizations. This one is a national-wide database where based on the organizational code, or name or the location, you can check this information as well. I mentioned at the beginning company stamp. Company stamp equals to the signature of the person authorized to sign on behalf of the company. So when you are going to conclude the contract, it's good to have either signature of legal person or legal representative, or company stamp, common seal, or the ideal both of them. However, Chinese name, it's important to pay attention to the name which is on this common seal or any other company stamp. This name has to be same on the business license and any other documents like invoices, purchase orders, contracts, and so on. And also as well, it has to be same on the as on the account number. Currently in China there are two types of the company stamp. The old version company stamps, which includes the common seal stamps for the financial use and contract use, are required to be filed with the Public Security Bureau, and they don't include any stamp code on the face of the stamps. And since a few years ago, many of the offices, AIC offices, introduced what is called applied anti-fake company stamp, which looks like you can see on the picture. It's made of the metal. It includes, in addition to the name and the red, five-pointed star, it includes as well special 13-number stamp code. This seal, or this type of a seal, is now used in Beijing, Hebei. We know about Shanghai as well. And here you can see some of the other rules applicable on this company stamp. Now I have included one slide explaining scam examples. This is from the questions, from the inquiries we have received.
Ludmila, sorry, I interrupt you there just because we have a question from Martin on the company stamp. How do you know if the company stamp is real and it can't be copied, or it's not a copy?
It's really a good question. It's not for the first time we have received this question. Of course, the easiest way, which is not probably very applicable, is if you can check directly in the company who is authorized to use this copy, and you can see the copy. But of course, it's not very easy to do that. So you may ask someone go to the AIC, it's Administration of Industry and Commerce, and have a look, because this common seal or other types of the company stamps usually are affixed to the important documents, so you can compare. As well for the new, but for the old types of the stamps, there are some rules how they need to look like. I mentioned a few of them at the beginning. I mean, it's about the style, about the size, and so on. So there are ways how to distinguish real from the fake one. Yeah. So back to the slide. There is one example of the fake company. You can see that on the left side, the fake company, the name of the seller is somehow distorted. It's not very easy to read, or almost impossible to read, and we think, or we are almost sure that it was for the purpose to read it this way. On the right side, there is something what we call imposter. There was a guy who was using business license of a real honest company, but he himself was not an honest person, and we have found out because when we asked him to send us the power of attorney, there was a fixed company stamp on it, and when we compared this company stamp with the information on the AIC database, we find out that there were some discrepancies. So, I mean, you need to have someone who is able to know what he is looking for. Well, there was enough about the business license, I think, and the company stamp. And we go, just very quickly, I will mention that there is necessary to check not only the business license, but other mandatory documents. For example, landlord, if you are going to establish a company here in Beijing, and you will need a lease contract, and you will need a premises. These premises, they have to be used. They have to be used for the commercial purpose. So you will need to ask your landlord to provide you with the ownership certificate, and on this ownership certificate shall be clearly mentioned that it is that these premises can be used for the offices or another commercial purposes. Then if you are going to cooperate with the distributor, for example, distributor of the food and beverage, and this distributor, in addition to the business license, needs to provide you, but it's good for you to ask, special distribution permit for the food. And same comes with different types of the service providers, like, for example, accounting. They need to have special certificates for that. So that was enough about the legal status. Now about the financial status. If you are going to cooperate long term, or the amount of your business will be quite substantial, it may, for you substantial, it makes sense to ask your business partner to provide you with the creditworthiness letter. It's the paper, it's the letter issued by the bank of your partner, and on this letter it certifies that this company has on the account some amount of money, that their credibility is good. When you are cooperating with a company, there is no reason why you shall pay to the individual account. So always ask for the company account and check whether all the information, like the name of the company, corresponds to the company stamp and the business license. Capital verification report, financial statements, or the audit reports, very probably you will not receive them from the company itself, but on some occasions, even now it's quite difficult, they can be obtained at the local Administration of Industry and Commerce. And if you are going to cooperate long term, then you may be interested as well on the credit history of your partner, It works this way that your partner needs to himself ask Credit Reference Center of the Central Chinese Bank to issue the credit history record for him. Now, almost same important as the legal status and the financial status is the company operation. Again, if you are interested in your business will go smoothly, then it makes sense. It's very, really makes sense to come to China and visit the company premises of your business partners in person. Go a few times, sometimes even unannounced, so you know how the real situation looks like. When you are on the spot, notice organization, cleanliness of the premises, employees' conditions, location. Visit other premises like distribution network, so you can verify whether the business partner really is able to provide the services he claims he is. Talk with employees, pay attention whether understand their business or whether they were just installed few weeks ago to mislead potential partners. Same as talking to the employees, talk to suppliers, neighbors or competitors. Check if the company is a member of any official association and contact them. Of course, in this point, it makes sense to contact local chambers of commerce and the place where your potential partner is located. Quick tips: if the deal looks, if it is considerably cheap, the partner push you to conclude the contract or send the money fast, it's too smooth, very probably there is something wrong with it, and do not engage. On the other hand, do notice bank account. Again, is it a company account or individual account? Is the name same as in the contract, purchase order? Is the account number same in all invoices? Check the websites. Usually the scammers, they have only English websites. If it is a Chinese company, they need to have Chinese IP address and their websites in Chinese language. Of course, in English in addition to that, but having only English websites is suspicious. Fixed phone line. Try calling a few times. Suggest Skype contact with a web camera so you can see who you are talking to. If the person on the other side is reluctant to answer via Skype or they refuse to be on the camera, be cautious. Has the contact person changed a few times? That's as well the sign which is necessary to pay attention to. And the last topic is what to do when you are subject of a scam. First thing is review what you have in hand. The most important is paper. Do you have contract, purchase order, payment order, copy of business license, other certificates? Do you have originals or at least copies with the official stamp? By asking these questions, I'm implying that you should be always asking for this. Then the next step will be whether the company really exists. If they exist, where they are registered, who is legal representative. Visit or asks local lawyer to visit administration of industry local website, or that does not need to be for the website, does not need to be a lawyer. Then seek a local advice and try to contact the legal representative, but avoid your contact person, because that can be the contact person who is the scammer, not the company itself. Was the company itself subject of the scam? You will need at the one point you will need to find an independent local advisor and try to negotiate.
Yes, on that note, I wanted to remind everyone that from the website of the EU SME Centre, www.eusmecentre.org.cn, in the Knowledge Centre there you can find a service providers database, and there you can search through lawyers and other advisors to find some further specialists in this field if ever you need help.
Yeah, that's true. It's you can see on the legal services and the location. So you try to negotiate, and when the negotiation fails, calculate your losses and compare it to the further expenses for the dispute settlement. Think about that there will be some administration fee, which are not too high, but they are there. Law firm will be probably the largest expense, translation, notarization, and travel costs. Then consider whether your evidence is enough and whether you have the chance to win the dispute. And when the dispute is, you think that you have a chances, have a look in your contract if you have any. Do you go for the litigation or arbitration? What is the location of your dispute settlement place? So I'm not going to much in details in this because we have a special guideline on the dispute settlement, and which this guideline can be downloaded from our website. So when there is nothing mentioned in your contract, then you will probably go for the litigation, and the litigation will take place in the China where your Chinese partner is located. Then, when you decide for the dispute, act fast. Let your legal advisor ask the court for a preliminary injunction. And this means that you or the legal advisor will find out what property your debtor has. Usually it is real estate. In some cases there can be collected information about the banking accounts, and then you will ask the court to freeze these assets. However, be aware that the dispute does not finish with winning judgment, that there has to come enforcement phase, which might be another, costly experience, and does not need to be really successful. Then, as well, you can, in addition to the commercial, the civil dispute, you may consider criminal action. There are special requirements for this criminal action, where you can apply and what information you shall provide to the Public Security Bureau, but we don't have, unfortunately, time to cover this. So, last page of this presentation about the scams. Summary. Do not take the company's self-introduction at the face value. Be interested and collect company's paperwork. Be interested and get information about operation. Always ask yourself, is it too good to be true? Visit China as often as possible. Do not be in a hurry. And ideally have someone whom you yourself have chosen, and it's your trusted person. Keep on paying close attention to the recent situation, and find local professional advice. We would be happy with this USME center, but it does not need to be online.
Thank you very much, Ludmila. A lot of information and some very practical advice there. I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention that there is some follow-up reading that you can do as part of our diagnostic kit. There's a report called Knowing Your Partners in China that is fully available to download from our website at the link that you see here on the slide. And there you have some more in-depth step-by-step guides on how to conduct preliminary due diligence. Now, we're coming to the last 5 or 6 minutes of the webinar, so this is the chance now to address the many questions that you've put forward to us during the webinar. I can see from the sheer number that we won't get through all of them today, but bear with us and we will try our best. So, first of all, Ludmila.
Yeah.
Martin is asking, if a company moves to a new address, do they need to adjust their business license? Should the visiting address be the same as the one on the business license?
Yeah, basically if the new address is the registered address, yes, they have to adjust the business license. Visiting address does not need to be necessarily that one on the business license, but there is a rule that whenever a company has a premises outside the place of the registered address, then they need to have a branch or some kind of the legalized presence there.
Thank you, Ludmila. And then in response to the dispute settlement you mentioned earlier, if there is no dispute settlement clause mentioned in the contract, what can be done?
Yeah. If there is no dispute settlement clause in the contract, then you have no other option, and you decide for the dispute. You have no other option than goes for the litigation, and very probably it will be the place of where your Chinese company is registered. There might be variations to it, but very often you will go to China for the dispute settlement. Therefore, it makes sense. To agree in the contract on the arbitration clause, which is much more flexible. Yeah. Then we have another question from Martin. He is asking, in Europe, you can be asked to have documents legalized. Can this also be arranged by the Chinese company? It can be, but usually it's not asked by the Chinese company. Usually who is asking this is the local administration. Sometimes it can be suspicious if the company is asking you for the legalization or the notarization of your documents. For example, for the sales purchase contract, there is not such a need at all. Yeah, what can SME expect from you? What SME expect from the EU Center in regards to help? It's a question from Lars. What we can do for you is to conduct an internet check in the Administration of Industry and Commerce database, but we need a scanned copy of the business license. Then we can find out whether the Chinese name Chinese name on the business license corresponds to the one which is on the internet database.
Okay, there's a question here from Fred asking, are there any particular recommendations for renting a room for office space in China?
I mean, there might be a lot of recommendation. I mean, from the legal perspective, the most important one, the office or the room is not room like for the living, but it's meant for the office or for the commercial purpose.
Okay, so I think that we're coming to the end now. So unfortunately, we can't deal with the rest of the questions right now during the webinar, but we will get back to you after the webinar. If you have any follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to visit the website. You have the link here, and through the Ask the Expert channel, you can post your inquiries there, or send us an email at info@eusmecentre.org.cn. For those of you who are new to the EUSME Centre, or as a quick reminder for those who have been following us for some time now, we are a project that is fully funded by the European Union, and we're a business centre set up here in Beijing to provide practical business support to European small and medium companies looking to enter the Chinese market, either exporting to China or investing in China. And we provide this information and advice free of charge. A lot of this can be accessed already from our website. So these are the centre services that are to your disposal, and all are accessible from the website. You can post business inquiries to us. You can even schedule one-to-one business consultations with our in-house experts, and there's a lot of information available, over 80 publications in our Knowledge Centre. We are conducting regular trainings, both through online, through our webinar series, but also on the ground in China and Europe. So do visit our events page to see which events are coming up in your area. To stay connected with us and find out our latest news, you can link up with us on social media, and also register to receive our monthly newsletter. So I would like to thank very much Ludmila for today's presentation. Thank you all for listening out there, and do not hesitate to contact us for any follow-up support. As you log off the webinar, you will be asked to fill out a very short survey, so we do welcome your valuable feedback. So thank you for filling that out. Thank you, Ludmila. Thank you, everybody out there.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you at tomorrow's webinar, part 3 of the webinar series on marketing your products in China. Thank you.